speaking of real, man, going on this big topic, talking about Roy Jones, doing his little interview with Fight Hype. And like I said, he really touched on some gems that I was just watching the video. And I was just like, man, he's just saying everything that needs to be said in the game today, you know, and really open up not just fans' eyes or trolls' eyes, but the fighters too. Yeah. You know, everybody can kind of take what he said. Because like I said, with us, I feel like I try to bring, corner talk, not bashing, not troll talk, just things people can really be enlightened for off the sport. And when they asked him the question about the Errol Spence and Shawn Porter fight, and Errol Spence in general, and comparing him to Terrence Crawford, he felt that right now Errol Spence hasn't really fought like a really big credible guy on his resume, and he still needs to kind of prove that. And he feels like the Shawn Porter fight for him is kind of like that show improved fight. Mm-hmm. Now, I have my feeling and opinion about that, but I'll let you go. How'd you feel like when he said that? Like
I said, off mic, and it's not a jab at Errol Spence by no means. It's just pretty much I absolutely agree, because like I always say, fights answer questions. If fights never happen, then certain questions never get answered. So up to this point, he's fought guys that pretty much we knew the answer to before the fight was over. Not guaranteed, but we pretty much kind of knew the answer. So this is kind of, and some people don't even give Porter a chance. Some people think he don't stand a chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But most diehard and people who really know boxing see this as an interesting fight. Like I said earlier, Ant, it's the boogeyman versus the pit bull. And that just sounds like a good fight to me. A boogeyman versus a pit bull. You know what I mean? I can't say who's gonna win. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's just a very interesting fight, and it's actually, like you said, and you already was kind of a fan of it. It's a fight I never really put too much stock into, too much thought into it until they finally made it happen. Because I'm that type of person too, and I mean, I like to get into a fight when it's about to happen. All the talk, that's a lot of wasted time for me. But now that it's here, it's interesting when I sit down and look at what both of these guys bring to the table. And I think that, like Roy said, this will be a fight that, and like we've been saying from day one, that we need what fights need to happen so one guy can go up and one guy can go down, and that's all we saying. So this will be a fight where we can see who's going to go up and who's going to go down. Yeah. I mean, is Shawn Porter going to take a notch up or take a notch down? Is Errol Spence, this is a fight that is going to answer some questions. Yeah. Like we started off the thing, you said, well, Paris, did these fights, the sports, no, it didn't answer any questions. This fight will answer some questions. And when people say, well, what do you mean answer questions? This will answer questions as far as status and rankings in the welterweight division. You know what I mean? Right now, we don't know who's the best. People have opinions about who they think is the best, but with certain fights happening, we'll be able to say without a shadow of a doubt who is the best, because the best will be standing when the smoke clears. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean when I say answer questions. I mean, we can't answer questions if the top guys are not facing each other. If they're facing second tier competition, it's not getting us any closer to find out who's the best, because it's all about one belt, one champion, and one name. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about boxing. You know what I mean? We want to be able to say, okay, this is the heavyweight champion, this is the middleweight champion, this is the welterweight. We want to say one name with these things. So
always, yeah.
Of course, that's easier said than done, but that's kind of the blueprint, the outlook of it. We want guys to be able to get belts, unify, and become undisputed in these divisions. And you know what I'm saying? So I kind of agree with what Roy's saying. Like I said, it's not a bash to Errol Spence. This is the thing, man. Some of these guys think they're there already because of the paydays. You still have to work to put in. Errol Spence is no discredit to him, but y'all still got work to do. Y'all have not paved a legacy yet. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
these guys feel like I'm here already. And that's not the case. You know what I mean? That's not the case. I mean, and I would debate that with anybody. I know I'm not a big debater, but these guys have not really laid down their stamp in the games yet. You know what I mean? Anything that they lay down can change. One fight could change it. You know, the thing about Wilder, the power is undeniable. Nobody can change the power of it. You know what I mean? It can take that from him. Tyson Fury went 12 rounds, but technically Tyson Fury got knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Technically he got knocked out. So that's undisputable. You know, but these guys have
longest reigning champion.
Reigning champion.
10 defenses. He's got a leg to stand on.
You know, it's just certain things that he is laying down that, you know, some of these other guys, I mean, mind you, Wilder is 33. He's a little bit older, but he got in the game late, so it kind of all balances out. You know what I'm saying? He started boxing late, you know, but these guys just have to do a little bit more, you know, and I'm not saying it's their fault. It's a lot of politics and shenanigans and posturing in the game, you know, but if I'm a fighter, I want to be known as the man, like Roy said. If you want to fight and this person want to fight, it shouldn't be nothing stopping it. Yeah. And that's what Roy said, you know what I mean? He said, that's how I used to be. You know what I mean? And like he said, if you got a belt, I was coming for it. It wasn't you got to talk to my man. We got to, you ain't big enough. If you got a belt, that's all it took back then, man. If you got a belt, that's all it took. My signal going off, you know what I mean? Right. So.
And he made a good point about why he never had a promoter. Like he said, there's good things about promoters, but he didn't have one because he didn't want that middleman standing there saying, you know, you got to talk to so-and-so. I can't get to. That's why we couldn't get certain fights back then, you know. Exactly. Like James Toney, he used to state, like, I can't get a fight with Julian Jackson, Nigel Benn, because he's up there on the Don King or something, you know, and certain things wouldn't happen. So it kind of put a freeze on fights.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I would look at it like this, Ant, like Floyd. Okay, you use a promoter to get to where you need to go, and then you dump him. And you become your own promoter. That's what Floyd did. You know, he did what he had to do because in the beginning you may need one. Right. You know, because they have things that you don't have. They have access to things that people, sources, you know, things that you don't have. So I get it in the beginning, but once the promoter gets me to a point where I'm solidified, I'm a name on my own, I kind of want to do what I want to do. I mean, I'm just saying, in my opinion, because I say every fighter should want to be the best and undisputed in their division. I don't know if that's true. You know what I mean? Yeah. But on the outside looking in, we think that every fighter goes into the game to become a world champion, undisputed. You know,
right? They should at least be showing them signs,
making them signs in that direction. So, you know, when we see guys just hanging around, getting older, and I mean, what do we think? I mean, none of these guys are 21, 22. You know what I'm saying? When you start talking about the welterweight division, you know what I mean? So it's time going by and guys are getting older and this, that, and the third, body changing. You know, it's just a lot of stuff going on, man. So
yeah, because when we talk about, like, everybody like to bring up four kings in boxing as far as Hearns, Duran, Leonard, and Hagler, they were in there early. They were in there battling it out early. You know, they all shared the ring at one point or another together, you know, and they were doing this at an early age, even ongoing. But like, we still got so many answers right now with four potentials at welterweight. Like, we got Crawford, Spence, Thurman, and Porter. You know, granted, I give respect to Porter because he's been the only one to have been in with most of them, but like, we still don't really have an answer between these guys, you know.
And why not?
Like, can they share the crown like these four did? Or is one guy better than all of them because he beat all of them?
He's gonna rank. You know what I mean? We need to know. And like, why aren't we getting, you know, these answers? Okay, one part I would say, it has to do with the promoter, but it goes back to, you know, one of our previous episodes, and when it's like, the fighter is the boss, though.
He's the boss.
The fighter is the boss.
He's the boss.
If the promoter says, hey, you got to fight this tomato can next, I would say I'm not doing it. What can he do?
I bet, what is that fight going to give me?
What can he do, man? Right. What can he say? I'm boycotting. I refuse to fight this guy that you want me to fight next.
Right.
He might not get paid.
But he won't get paid either.
But
Yeah, if all
exactly.
the fighters that promoter, I'll be like, all right, you won't give me that fight, then neither one of us eating today.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, it still kind of falls back for the fighter to take control of
Because when the fighter says,
his
I want
destiny.
that rematch, or damn sure better give him that rematch. Roy wanted that Montel Griffin rematch. He got it,
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So, just it's so many ways to look at, the boxing game or whatever, but Roy definitely dropped some jewels, and it was good to see him wide open like that.
yeah,
because he was on the road.
He was on the road that day. Like, you catch him right there, like I said, he'll spit it for you,
Exactly.
And I think that was a day like I said, he's always knowledgeable what he brings, but that was a day like it was like we gotta let everybody know what's going on,
Exactly.
And that's why I say I agree with everything he said, because like I said, I respect Spence as a fighter too, and I think big things of him, and he's fun to watch, but the opponents he's fighting were to open eyes, and we've already, he's already opened eyes now. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to answer questions, and in boxing, answering questions don't mean are you going to fight Crawford? No, it's seeing you two in the ring, fighting in the end of the fight. That answers questions. Exactly. The actions speak. So when Roy said, okay, he fought Mikey Garcia, okay, that was a good coming out fight as far as promotion and money, but you still need that full-fledged welterweight to answer what your skills can do.
Exactly. I mean, and he was making a lot of points, like he said. Somebody really making us think about 160 to 1. That's not even nothing.
160 to 168.
He said you got guys moving 2 and 3 weight classes. I can see a guy questioning that.
Right.
But one weight class, regardless of what it is, 115 to 120, whatever it is. To be, you know what I'm saying?
That's why I say, like, to show some type of greatness, or that you wanted to be great, one weight class ain't that far. It's
not. You know what I'm saying? And if it's an opponent there, that don't mean just go to a weight class and beat a bum and take a belt and never defend it necessarily, right. But if it's a great fight to be made and the guy's one weight class away, come on. Come on. That stuff that's happening now that didn't happen back in the day. That's what I'm saying, man. You weigh 168, I weigh 160. We weigh the same thing. We fight. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much,
Back then.
Pretty much, yeah.
But now, and I also like the thing he brought up about the Triple G, just how, it's kind of left at, because it's not about, it's kind of like about the power of the tongue and how words can factor in and persuade and make people see things different now. I like the way he said about the Triple G thing and Canelo fight. He said, when Triple G said the Mexican style, he had people anticipating something that he didn't deliver.
Exactly.
And that may have made people see it a different way. And he said, honestly, I thought that maybe he could have won that fight. I didn't really agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But Roy, a boxer, a legend in the game, he said that, I mean, honestly, I might have could have seen that, but when he said the Mexican style, that kind of threw it out the window. That's stupid that some people ain't, because words shouldn't matter, but
but that's how it can be.
That's how it can be.
That's when you bring energy like that, that's what they expect.
That's what they expect. I mean, and it can happen like that. So I thought that was a very good point, to just, you kind of got to be careful what you say too, because the fans, hold you to that, and that's why I say, I'm not a fan of, like, a lot of fights with bravado and talking a lot of stuff. And if you backed it up already, that's cool. But with all that talk, you got to be careful, because you got to back it up. Because when it goes left, you get bashed real hard.
Because think about it, where you talk is a big part of selling cars. Car salesman. You talk this car up and it's a piece of junk. You know what I mean? You talk to get me off the lot with it, but then it break down on me. We got a problem.
Yeah.
So same thing in boxing. You talk all this talk. You're selling yourself. You're selling yourself. Okay, Mexican style. Oh, he's going to bring it. He's going to knock Canelo out. You know what I mean? It's going to be fireworks. Yeah. But then after that, you come in there and bring a lemon. It's like you ain't what you were supposed to be.
Any vocal fighter that hasn't really backed it up that yet. You know what I mean? Like, I even noticed that Jamel Charlo, he kind of toned it down when it came down to this fight. And I believe that he sat back and assessed everything and said, yo, that's not really the right energy to have, because when things don't go my way, that energy brings a lot of negative energy to me. You know what I'm saying?
I can respect that too, because another thing about talking is whenever you talking, it may be words, but you're holding yourself to a higher standard than what you can really do at a point.
Sometimes,
you know
yeah, and definitely in some other people's eyes. You know, the casual fan who's seen you knock a guy out. If you say you gonna knock the next guy out,
that's what they want.
He respects a knockout because he don't understand the styles make fights, and this guy was tailor made, and you just had this guy. Now he don't understand all that stuff. You know,
but see, if you're going in the gym and working every day, sparring, you're doing everything you're supposed to without talking and saying anything, you're working with yourself. You know, but out here now, you're having to prove to this guy, the millions out there watching you got to prove to them. So now you may be doing things that you shouldn't be doing, you know, because like I said earlier, just we were talking about something else earlier, just knowing yourself. You know what I mean? You won't know yourself because you judging yourself off of what you think they think about you, you know. So then your whole mental is screwed, because then you're like, oh, I'm a knockout artist now. I knocked that guy out because I'm gonna knock this next guy out because I said I could. So you're gonna focus on what your body can't do, you know?
And that's one of the things that makes me respect like Terrence Crawford, because I believe in his head he talking shit.
I believe that.
I believe in his head he talking shit. But he's smart enough. He's smart enough to know. He's smart enough to know to be humble in the public, because this stuff could come back to haunt me. Like they said, they asked him about some fight. Oh, the Errol Spence. Well, how do you expect to win? It don't matter how. I just expect to get. I just expect to be victorious in the fight. I don't know what's going to happen in there, because you don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that, how many times can you reinvent that question? Right. You know, I know he's sick of it. Right. You know what I mean?
Or I've heard him ask if he could beat Keith Thurman or Spence in like the face he gives, and he just says, of course. In his mind, he's like, I'm gonna whoop their ass.
Yeah, you know exactly.
Like, he just says, of course, because there's nothing else to break down. Like,
enough to know that.
Of course means I can win.
Exactly.
And that's all you need to know. How is up to me.
And he saves himself backlash from can you beat Keith Thurman? Man, I'm gonna knock him out in the first round.
Keep clickbait. You know what I mean? You can hold that clickbait. You be real.
You know, he saved himself from all that. Now, if Keith Thurman beats him and he say, well, you thought you was gonna beat him? Yeah, well, things didn't go my way. That slides by more easier than when you say I'm gonna knock him and you said you was gonna do all this stuff and didn't do it. You know, you know what I mean. It slides by easy when you say, "Hey man, I had an off night," or "Hey man," you know what I'm saying.
I'd be like, well, you can come back, but then if you do it with that big mouth,
nobody wants to hear that.
Oh, you're
making
you
excuses.
Ain't got it.
Yeah, you're making excuses. Nobody wants to hear it.
Right.
You know? So I'm just saying, even that psychology plays a factor in the boxing game, man.
It do.
Some people know how to do that real well. Like Wilder, he is loud and in your face, and I think that might work for him, you know, as long as he don't get too crazy, but just that energy, you know, that he come with a lot of energy. You stand there and then he yell bomb squad in your damn ear, you know what I mean?
And I think for him it'll work because he's bringing it. He's not letting somebody else influence him. Yeah. That's who he is. You know, he hasn't changed because the people out there did this and said he needed to do that. Nah. This is him, and that's why people hate him for one reason, because they can't control him. You know, they can't make him. So he's that energy, so it's already there. So what you expect is what, you know, what he's going to give is what you expect, and vice versa with him.
Yeah,
so.
you wouldn't if he came out quiet, you'd be like, yo, what's wrong?
Yeah, what's wrong?
He came out, if he came out and said, bomb squad, you'd be like, yo, what?
Right.
Huh? What?
Or if he just came out, and be like, oh, they said I should box this time. You know what I mean? Something as simple as that. Like, oh, they said I shouldn't, you know, be swinging while I'm gonna just box this time. You know, his energy would be different. Yeah. But if he always goes in and say the KO, that's what you're gonna get. You know, because he said so. Right. But real quick, going back to the Roy thing, with Errol Spence, man, like I said, like. Talented guy, talented fighter, but I stand with him on that as far as this being that come out fight, because if this wasn't a come out fight and this was if he was already that man, all 4 belts would already be with him right now. But you know, right now, Spence, he has a belt. 3 other champions got belts.
Right.
When you start winning those fights, then we'll have you here. You know, simple as that.
And if Shawn Porter start winning back, we'll have it turn. We don't know whoever does that.
Whoever does it.
And at this point, it's still up in the air.
It's still in the air because they're still not fully mixing it up. And that's why I was telling you earlier off air, like, I like this fight. I actually was anticipating it more than the Bud and Spence fight, just because I was wanting it before Bud was at 147, and I felt like I don't care. Like I said, people need to be quiet about Shawn Porter calling him trash. He's the only guy to face Thurman, Garcia, going to face Spence, and fought Brook too. So he's the only guy who faced all of these guys. So, and like you said, may have limited skill to about what people say, but he fought his ass off.
Yeah, fought his ass
Went
off.
the distance.
Every fight.
Every single fight. Well, not about this one yet, but with those that happened, he
been dropped a few times, got back up, still did what he had to do.
Yeah. So he's still a major player in the game that I feel like this is a coming out challenge for Spence, because anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Spence, this style could get under his skin. He could be in his chest all night and he could nullify it,
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, we need fights like this. Like, I like Spence, but I like to see my champions in trouble. I like to see how they handle trouble. I don't like to see them easy fights. If I knew what was gonna have an easy fight, I wouldn't watch it.
And the thing about it, Ant, I think like people, fighters, sometimes they may be worried about, hey, the guy's better than me. I mean, for the most part, he was better than you on that night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It happened to be that night. These guys, you're both in shape, you're both competitive. Another night, you could come out on top. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think these guys are kind of close to say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Different nights, different things could happen. You know what I mean? Now, I mean, if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. That is what it is. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, these guys have to go in there and take that chance. I mean, it's a way to not get knocked out. You don't have to get knocked out. Just because a guy has power don't mean, I'm getting knocked out, he got power. No. Because you get knocked out by getting hit on the chin or hit in the wrong place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Your job is to defend that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, a guy with power is just really just another guy. I mean, the game plan is still the same. For a guy who don't hit hard, you're not necessarily sticking your chin out there necessarily.
Right, you might take those risks that you wouldn't normally take against a power puncher. But like what you were saying there, I agree with too. Like, one guy might not necessarily be better. It might just be his night, because like the corners, they see everything and they're saying, oh, he could do this, he could do that. We went over that. Why ain't he doing it? Maybe he just ain't feeling it. Like, you could give them all the tools that they need to do. That's why whenever you talk to a guy in defeat, they say, well, we could have jabbed more. We could have did this more, but he was just on his game,
Exactly.
So it's not really a question of saying, it's not really a statement of saying, oh, I'm better than him off top. But, it just all depends on how you come with it that night.
And that's what I'm saying. That if you roll the dice, and the dice being Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, I don't know what you get.
I really don't.
I don't know what if you roll really that 7 times, I can't say what you would get. You know what I mean?
I really don't. Yeah.
Until we start seeing these guys fight and answering certain questions, I think that's kind of how people feel. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't know what happened when we roll those 4 dice, because those guys they're kind of evenly matched, so to speak. Nobody is way outshining nobody. No. People have different strengths and weaknesses and different things, but nobody is like way beyond anybody. You know what I mean? They're kind of in the same learning realm. About the peak, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So,
and everybody has their one thing they do well, but it hasn't been tested against that next guy. You know what I mean? Like, well, Porter again, he has. So, I kind of exclude him. He's already proven himself with some things. But like the Thurman, the Spence, and the Bud, Bud moving up to 147. Can you take a full-fledged welterweight jab?
Absolutely.
Spence, could you deal with his timing? Thurman, could you deal with the pressure or the power of a Spence? So there's a lot of things that these guys need answered. Like I said,
questions. Yes, bro.
We got to answer these things, and that's why a lot of people get mad at the division. When you got everything there, but it's not being utilized right. It's not the fights that we want aren't being made. Because like Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao, okay, like Thurman, you want the money, but Pacquiao's a legend, but it's still not the same as the guys you need to be mixing it up with. You know what I mean? Spence and Porter, that's it. That's one of the questions that's going to be answered. Can Spence deal with this type of pressure? Can Porter revive himself and take 2 belts? Can he? take this other belt and become a 2-belt champion now, you know?
Or just fact this scenario win too, man. I mean, we could be looking at a few trilogies, a few rubber matches. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. That's why y'all have to mix it up. You know what I mean? Right? Could you agree with that?
Yeah, because this fight could be so good or so close that people going to demand a rematch.
We don't know.
We don't know, man.
So that's what I'm saying. Like right now, where Errol Spence might in his mind think, "Oh, Terrence Crawford is going to be my main dancer." We don't know until you mix it up.
Yeah,
you know, this could be a trilogy, and you make more money than you're going to make fighting Terrence Crawford in this trilogy. We don't know.
We saw that with Wilder and AJ. You know, that was supposed to happen after these couple fights, but now AJ's got his battle. You got to battle his demons now. Man. So Ruiz rematch or not. So like their whole fight. That's why I say like Spence and Crawford was interesting to me skill wise, but I still feel like this one could be like a fight that it's kind of slept on right now, but they just don't understand. Like casual fans don't understand the matchup. You know, they just don't understand what could so many questions they could answer. That's why Roy, when he mentioned that, he just said like, "This is that fight that's going to make Spence if he wins." I agree with that because I was like, "Yeah, man." When I think about it, he got the Brook fight, but you don't have a Spence on there yet. You know, I mean, you don't have a Porter on there yet.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have a Porter yet. You know, hopefully that can lead to a Thurman.
And that's the thing with Shawn Porter. It's nothing you can say. With Kell Brook, he did come off the orbital bone, a bad Triple G fight moving up. Mikey Garcia, he was small. Lamont Peterson, he was old. I mean, with Shawn Porter, you can't. It's not going to be too much. The haters can pull out and say.
You can't
say what I mean?
You 2-time champion, faced everybody. Relentless, strong. That's everything.
He's known as a big guy too. Yeah. You know, he comes down to 147. Yeah. I mean, Errol Spence comes. It's an exciting fight, man.
Did you see the little interview on Fox? Like how they both blown up. Like,
oh my God, Errol Spence, his dimples got like. I mean, they super deep right now.
Because like Porter is shorter, but he was like staggered. But like Spence, he was big. Right?
I see it. Definitely over Spence's face or whatever. You know, I mean, which is it is what it is. You know, I mean, that's something that you know they have to deal with. You know, making that weight cut and dealing with the repercussions of that or whatever. But they eating good, Ant. I mean, it's a different time in the game right now, Ant. You know,
but it's like I said, man. It's like they need to. There's certain things that, like, if you want the same legacy status, legacy to me in the standards of who you fight never changes. Like, of course, the money changes. You know, a few skills might change, but as far as who you fight, that never changes.
It doesn't, Ant. But the money, if it comes too soon, it make you say, "Why should I?"
Why?
You know, you know, like earlier, I had to do this to get the money. Man, I had to go ahead and fight Keith Thurman, goddamn Shawn Porter, and Errol Spence just to get $1 million.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that no more.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that no more. You can fight a guy nobody never heard of and possibly make 5 figures, 6 figures.
So is that where they saying that money is more important than legacy again?
I mean,
like sometimes you think
with the new generation that
they think
it's more of them who I think feel like that than feel the latter. You know, I believe Terrence Crawford worried about his legacy. I do believe that. You know, I believe Errol Spence is worried. I mean, most of the players at welterweight, I do believe want some legacy.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like I feel like they all do because of the pedigree. Like even Errol Spence
Thurman, I question him because after you left, you know, and then when you come back, Manny, you know, but outside of him, the rest of the guys seem like, I do want to be in the Hall of Fame. I want to be known as, you know, a top dog at 147.
Because outside of Thurman now, like he used to talk, I only hear them guys mentioning the belts, you know, as far as what happens. That's why I say like they have to like put more of a stamp on it that they want it. You know, leave Bob Arum, Al Heyman out of it. Y'all need to be vocal and say, hey, take the back seat. We want to fight. You know, let us talk. Let us talk for a minute.
Exactly. I mean, I mean, it's a little frustrating that because it's like, you know, I mean, we know what's going on, but you know, it's like we know what's going on. We know it's the promoters, but then we're a little frustrated because we like, yo, the fighters are the boss. I don't want to hear the promoter. You know what I mean? Y'all the boss. You know, so
because I just go back. Trinidad won his IBF welterweight belt when he was like 20, and then when he unified like a few years later with De La Hoya.
That's what I'm saying.
And like they did all that in a matter of, early 20s, mid 20s, the challenges and weight was their next step after, whenever they already set their goals and did that.
It's like, Ant, you have to go and get it. And I'm going to bring John up again. Because,
John Jones?
Yeah, just because, of course, he has the cloud over his head, but he's 31 years old. He wants to be known as the best. This is about to be his third fight in 8 months. That's how you do it, Ant.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't do it fighting here and there, and then when you fight here and there, it's not even... John Jones fighting whoever's stepping up right now. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, this, I believe I'm the best in the world. I want my legacy to be intact, and I fought 3 times in 8 months. That's impressive.
Because physically, he's not just keeping that blood going; he keeping that legacy blood
that
going.
Legacy,
Because sometimes, like you say, if you fight once a year and that life is so good during that year off, you'd be like, damn, like that's all I really need to do is
That's
just
all
clock
I really
in for
need.
1 hour a day.
Clock out for 1 hour a day.
I'm good.
Because
like,
other than that, do I want to be in a hot gym? Do I want to be running behind the car? Do I want to not have sex? Do I want to, you know what I mean?
Do I want do I want to keep making weight?
Yeah.
Which is the tough battle right there. So it's like,
if I could fight once a year, I get it, eh? I understand why guys are fighting twice a year, but I'm just saying.
But to be a fighter, that has to be out the door.
And that's what I'm saying.
What we understand.
Fighting twice a year comes with a price.
Yeah.
Too. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When people start questioning your legacy and, your activity, being, I'm not going to say that's inactive, but it's not very active, that has to do something to your skills.
Yeah.
Guys back in the day, they stayed sharp because they was bam, bam, bam. That's what I say. John fighting 3 times in 8 months. And to be who he is, that's like Floyd Mayweather fighting three times 8 months. You know what I'm saying? He don't have to.
Yeah. Putting it all on the line, but
you want to prove it the best.
Yeah, you put it all on the line, but you already know you going in with that mentality like, well, my skills they keep getting better and better. I'm not putting anything at risk. That's more money each time, more to my legacy because I know I can do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But like once you take a year off of one big major fight, take 9-10 months off. Do you really feel like you got to feel rusty? You got to feel it some type of way, like because training and just hitting the bag or sparring ain't the same as the fight. That's why I just say like if they would like even going back, I say Trinidad, you stay on a consistent basis of staying in there, then you'll kind of know where you stand as a champion, or what you really need to work on. I really just hope that we can get these 4 champions together, man, soon, man.
Yeah. And I feel the same too, Ant, but can I say, oh bro, it's gonna happen? I don't know. I really don't know at this point. I don't know. I mean, people getting paid money to walk away from the game. People getting paid decent money that they can say, yo, I'm done, I'm going into real estate. We giving people other options with some of the money that they making right now. So I can't guarantee that we will, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully.
Yeah, because what we feel is one thing, but how they really are seeing the bigger picture, I'm talking about life outside of boxing, they could be like, hell with it pretty soon,
Yeah,
something could come along.
It's always a health risk. These guys got kids, they got wives, they got people who care about them. They might got people, pulling them away from the game. We don't know what's all going on, in their personal lives,
Yeah.
So it's all up to them, man.
Yeah.
We can want it all we want. Scream till we blue. That's why I say, as far as Terence Crawford still doing interviews, it's one thing people really want to know. Outside of that, how many different ways can you really, serve that question? Yeah,
because, when you go back, like you're saying, like, he's not really one to hound to give you answers about other fighters. He's not really of course, he ain't on that level yet, like a Roy Jones, who's going to really break everything down for you. He's not like a boxing guru. Like when you go to a Roy, I'm going to him because I want to know about his outlook on boxing.
And he has the information to be able to give me that. You know what I'm saying?
Like Bud might only have what he know for him.
Exactly.
And he don't have the skills. I won't say well, he might not have the presentation, the way to deliver that, you know what I mean? Like what's on his mind to us.
Right. And even been around long enough, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, you what, in your 30s, it's still things that, you know, Roy done been up, down, lost, you know. He's been commentating. He's been
training
around so long and dealt with so many different things, that weight classes, you know what I mean? That he got some jewels, you know what I mean? When he talk, you got to listen. Right. These guys still got work to do, man, before they can become a boxing guru. You know what I'm saying?
Because, when you think about it, like, if I approach Crawford, it is just going to be like, who do you want next at 147? You know, we all know what the hold up there, but when I see Roy, it's like, oh, shit, that's Roy. Roy, what you think about Ruiz AJ?
Exactly.
What you think? Who's you think's the last standing at 160? You know, there's a lot of stuff there because what he says could really give you a good outlook on it, and most of the time he's correct.
Exactly.
You know, I remember when he called the Tommy Morris and Lennox Lewis fight on how it would go down, and it was almost spot on. You know,
I mean, he called the Kovalev and what was the Alvarez fight? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
you know his stuff. Joker know his stuff now, man. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, you've been around in the places he's been, Russia, he's been all over. You gained some knowledge, you know, and that's what we're saying. Terrence Crawford could break down any fight and tell you about boxing, but it's still certain things, and you know, because you know it has to do with age and experience. That's how you get the wisdom. You know, he's still just too young right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's still too young right now. You know, Roy, the reason we listen to him because he got the experiences. It's not just like he's just talking. Oh man, no, we know Roy been knocked out before, so he can speak on how to get back from that, how to rebound, how it fit, you know, but you know, he can give us this insight that you know, some fighters can't because they haven't really been there yet, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the realm that all those guys I'm sure are students of the game, but they're not people I would go to about the boxing game, you know? Right. I'm more Lennox Lewis, Roy, you know, some of these people who really can enlighten me on some stuff through decades of boxing, and not just right now. Yeah,
because those guys that are right now are really for themselves right now because that's how they got to be. Because they'll be like, I haven't, like you said, experienced everything yet. I'm just doing what I got to do to survive right now to make my career. But once you've been out of the box of that career, you manage other careers, promote other careers. You, like you said, take wins and L's. So it's like I can tell you something. I can tell you a thing or two.
Definitely more information to bring to the table or whatever. So I mean, it's not like a personal thing. It's just it's levels to it, you know. And there's some guys out there that, you know what I mean, who are very insightful in the game. Now you got somebody like De La Hoya who just throws shock value stuff out there all the time. You know what I mean? I know he know the real deal with boxing because he's been around a lot too. But you can't really, you know,
De La Hoya is just going to smile and say, "Oh man, that fight's fantastic, man." You know, everything look. Ryan Garcia's gonna knock Devin Haney out. Watch. Mark my words. but he gonna give you like a Roy, he'll break down Haney and Garcia. You know what I mean?
Roy gonna have the antics. Roy gonna give you, and Roy gonna give you the business. But shout out to Ryan Garcia too, man. Now that you brought him up real quick, because I've been just seeing some little footage that he been posting lately. He got some kind of unorthodox training techniques, and he's working, man.
He's intense.
He's working. He's working.
Between him and like Haney, that's why I say I respect this new generation of fighters where they coming up as far as like their training and discipline.
They working, man.
They working. They're some intense guys.
I mean? This guy, I mean, he's like some pop star, pretty boy, but he's working it. You know what I'm saying? He's working. You know, so anybody that puts the work in, I respect. But he had the one video where he had the laser pointer on the wall. I mean, and I'm just thinking that people just how they getting creative with these training techniques. They got the tennis ball, they got the floaties. You know what I'm saying? People just inventing stuff, but that was a new one for me. Just seeing him hit the thing, which I thought was kind of cool. And I seen another one. He was just showing his speed or whatever. But the kid is putting in work, and like you know how we talk off the mic, how you know certain people we're not seeing them post footage of that work. We need to see that work. Yeah, that type of work.
Right.
That type
all
of work.
All day long.
You know
like, And when I see that type of footage, that puts me in the realm with who they should fight next, what level they're on. Like, when I see a Devin Haney bashing, tearing that bag up, I'm like, Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? Tiafimo. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Garcia, like, everybody knocks him because he's fast, and he's still working on some technical things. Once he knows how to utilize that speed right, and once he, commits to being more of a boxer, not just a speedy guy and a showman, which, like I said, he's growing. He can make something because, like, that's why he's posting this footage of letting you know
I'm putting in the work.
I'm putting these vlogs up because I'm coming.
I'm coming.
Canelo, to work with Canelo,
coming.
getting,
Exactly.
the strength he's been getting from, the muscle he's been putting on. He's working. He's working.
So, and that's what I say that these are the looks that you give people when you want to prove that you're on coming. Definitely. I ain't the best yet. I'm coming though.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, even if that was just, random footage, that's still what the public want to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, that's what we want to see.
Because your road coming up, that's got to be your juiciest work you got to put up. Like somebody was telling me, like when they wanted to make demo tapes, rap before back in the late 90s, they was like, I got to put my best shit on there.
Absolutely.
I got to put that on it so they know I'm coming.
So they know I'm coming.
So it's the same thing with this. Like you can't half-ass training. Like, especially if you want to put yourself in talks with these other guys, contenders. So